Hi learners, welcome to Virtual Computer School channel. In this video lecturing, we shall discuss about big data. The term is familiarly used in the current scenario in the IT industry, and most of the people are working in this big data projects. This is actually one of the important buzzword used in the IT industry in this decade or in the years to come. So here, just we'll have a short discussion on what exactly the big data and what exactly the big data analytics and some more details on big data. So first, let us discuss about what is a big data. So here, the big data is a term. It doesn't have a single well-defined definition. But many vendors, many technology people, they framed different definition to describe or to define the big data term. And one of the definition I took it from Wikipedia. The Wikipedia, it says about big data is a field that treats ways to analyze, systematically extract information from, or otherwise deal with data sets that are too large or complex to be dealt with by the traditional data processing application software. There are two key points are given in the definition. The data sets are too large or it is complex again. So that is why they tag this name big. Okay, the big, generally they try to say the volume of the data that we are going to handle in the big data technology is too large, maybe some petabyte and zettabytes of data. And again, the one more thing is in the big data. So whatever the data or volume of data we are handling, at the same time, the data is in complex. So complex data, there are three different type of data we are going to see. Structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So in the normal traditional database management system, we'll be using structured data. Okay, so there the schema and the data is well defined. But when you talk about the complex data is doesn't have a proper schema or proper structure. So generally the text, video, and audio, those type of the data format will be handling. Here, the complex data structures or the complex data may not be properly handled by the normal data processing application software. Something like normal relational database management system may not be properly handle the volume of data as well as the type of data that you are dealing in the big data. Okay, so here there are two aspects. That is, it is too large as well as the data is complex, and one more is this particular data may not be properly processed by the normal relational database management system softwares. Okay, then there's some more definitions for big data. So obviously this is also in this definition also will be telling the same thing, but with small differences. Here the other definition says big data is a phrase used to mean massive volume of both structured and unstructured data. So in the unstructured data, as I told you, so we'll be dealing with text, audio, video, and images. Okay, so that is so large, it is difficult to process using traditional database and software techniques. Maybe when you use normal relational database management system, so this particular software may not be more appropriate to handle your big data. So we need a special type of technology to handle this type of data format. Okay, that is unstructured data. In most enterprise scenarios, the volume of data is too big or otherwise moves too fast. So that means maybe we'll be discussing more on what is the data is moving fast. That means in general in the big data environment, we'll be dealing with streaming data, or otherwise the data is on move. Okay, so not the stable data. So mostly we'll be dealing with the data which is on the move, or it exceeds the current processing capacity. So whatever the traditional database management system was capable, so that is actually we are exceeding further to implement this big data, right? So the other thing is in the big data is a term applied to data sets whose size or type is beyond the ability of traditional relational databases to capture, manage, and process the data with low latency. This was the idea. At this point, we already said in the previous definition. Then other point is the challenges include, what are the challenges include in the big data? Capturing the data and curation. That is, whatever the data you are capturing. So all the entire data, we cannot take it for, further usage. So before you put into the proper usage, we need to purify, or we need to eliminate the unwanted and, the noisy data, right? So that is for the curation. That is also one of the challenge here in the big data. And storage, that is, we need a very high volume or high storage devices to store the massive volume of data. And after storing your data, and again searching will be also another challenge, right? So to search a particular, the correct data, we need a proper searching algorithm and mechanisms, and sharing the data and transfer. Suppose if you want to transfer your data from one place to the other place, that is also one of the big challenge here in the big data. And even analysis. So you'll be having huge volume of data, and when you are taking it for analysis, you should not miss out any single data, right? Whatever the required data, all the data should be considered for analysis. Then only the decision making after the analysis, what is the decision you are making, that will be more appropriate. Okay, so then finally the visualization, like how you are going to present in the form of a report or in the understandable form, right? So what are the tools we required for that? That is also the another challenge we have. Then the next thing is we'll discuss about what are the sources for big data. See, we already said the data, big data, the volume of data is too high, and then the different structures of data we are dealing. Okay, so in that case, what are the major sources for big data in the real-time environment? Most of the artificial intelligence environment or the system will be producing the big data, that is massive volume of data, and mobile and sensor networks. Even in the mobile technology and then sensor networks, even that also will be more volume of data is generated, and social websites. So we daily crores and crores and millions people are using social websites to update their information, like as we use the Twitter and then Facebook, right? And Instagram, so something like that. So in that social networks also, social media is also generating massive volume of data, and real-time systems. Okay, so in the real-time systems, that is here you are not going to save the data and further you are taking it for process. As soon as you are getting the data in the real time, you'll be taking it for processing. Okay, so the another way is a kind of streaming data, right? See, we have the streaming data environment also, and then the Internet of Things, IoT devices. So nowadays, people have started using in the most of the environment all the IoT devices. The IoT devices will be producing massive volume of data. Okay, so here when the volume of data is being generated so massively, then we need a very correct and appropriate technology to handle such a kind of volume of data. Okay, so these are the areas where we can expect the big data environment. That means maybe we'll be getting more volume of data. Okay, much more driving data complexity through new forms and sources of data. Then for example, we can take big data comes from sensor devices, and then video and audio networks, log files will be taking massive volume of data in the log files, and transactional applications, web-based applications, and social media. Okay, so the same thing. So much of it generated in real time and at very large scale. So the volume of data generated in each and every environment is massive. Each and every second there will be gigabytes of data is being generated. Okay, so big data characteristics. Next one is, we will just say few words on big data characteristics. Here the big data characteristics, we mainly the people, those who are in the industry in this particular technology, they have started with 3 V's initially, that is volume, velocity, and variety. And after that, the 5 V's and 6 V's, and finally, so at present we have 7 V's to describe the big data characteristics. There are 7 V's: volume, velocity, variety, variability, veracity, visualization, and value. Okay, so we'll be discussing on this all the 7 V's in the another one special video. For now, just understand the volume, velocity, variety, variability, veracity, visualization, value. So these are the 7 B's we associate with the the big data characteristics. Okay, so you know what will be characteristics. When you say a big data, the data should have all these characteristics. Okay, so then you can call it as a big data. So now the previous days, what was the old model? The volume of data generated only by the few companies, and then all other where we were consuming the data. Okay, so only very few limited companies or limited environment, the data was generated, and we started using those data, right? We actually consume the data, and later on what happened now, the present scenario, the model has changed. So all of us are generating data and all of us are consuming the data. Okay, so mostly in the all the big data environment, so where such a volume of data is being generated by everybody. So each and every one of us is contributing for generation of the volume of data. Okay, so again, we generally we used to consume the data to find certain facts from the data. Okay, the available data. Then to understand more on what is big data, we'll just have a comparison with the traditional databases. Okay, traditional database in the sense normal database management system or the relational database management system. And what is the differences between these two? Okay, the first one is here the data is structured data. So mostly in the traditional relational database management system, we'll be using structured data. So maybe the data with a proper structure and then proper schema. So each and every data type and then size of the data and all the semantics will be clearly defined in the structured data. And whereas in the big data, it is we'll be using unstructured or semi-structured data most of the time. Okay, so in some cases we are allowed to use structured data also, but in the big data environment mostly we'll be dealing with unstructured or semi-structured data. Unstructured data, I told you the simple example. So all the text messages and then text files, video, audio, okay, images, everything you can consider as unstructured data. And then semi-structured data, maybe you can just think of the XML file and then JSON file, some the tag based file. Okay, so with a limited structuring. Okay, so those data also will be dealing with the big data environment, and the size of the data is very small in the traditional data. It is just a comparison, right? So when you compare to the big data environment, the size of or volume of data that you are handling in the normal relational database management system is small, and whereas in the big data environment, the data size is very huge. Okay, that is why we call it as in the name of big, right? So here the data is centralized. Mostly in the traditional databases, we'll be using centralized databases, but here the databases are distributed. Okay, you know what is the difference between centralized and distributed? The centralized, your data will be kept in only one place where all the users will be sharing your data in from the multiple places through the network. But whereas here, instead of keeping your data in only one place, what you are doing, you will be splitting the data in different locations. Okay, so that's why you are distributing the data in different locations or different database servers across the network. Okay, then here it is easy to work or manipulate. So normal SQL queries and then defining your table and all the model, that is whatever the data model you're using, with that you can easily manipulate. Maybe you can use normal SQL queries for searching, insertion, update, alter, all the manipulations. You can do it very easily. But here the handling the data is very difficult. Okay, that means it is not properly well defined. Okay, which particular query or which particular schema you have to use, right? So for that, we have a different type of tools. With that we can manage, right? Then normal system configuration is sufficient to process. Normal system configuration, normal, even if you're having your system with very normal the current configuration, system configuration, even you can install the traditional normal relational database management system and then you can use it. But here we need a especially high system configuration is required to process the data, right? So it is very difficult to practice in the real time with a very limited and small system or small computer. Okay, we need a proper server type of environment to use your big data, right? So a traditional database tools is enough. So what are the simple tools you are doing with the traditional databases, it is enough. But here we need a special type of tools for each and every process, right? And then here normal functions are enough to manipulate the data. So here it requires special kind of functions to manipulate the data. Data manipulations you can do with the normal functions, like usual way of writing your database queries and the functions, okay, the procedures, whatever the thing we'll use in the normal database management system, the query operations or the data manipulation. So that is enough. But here we need a special kind of functions to manipulate the data. And now next we come to the second part of our discussion, the big data analyst. So far we said what is actually a big data, and now we are now trying to say what the analytics is actually all about, right? So here the analytics plus status is equal to analytics. So that is, from my understanding, just I have framed this particular the term analytics. From this analytics you have the first one, and from the status, that is just what is my point is more of the analytics functions we'll be using in the big data during the analysis. Okay, that is what I'm just trying to say here. So big data analytics is the use of advanced analytic techniques against very large diverse data sets that include structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data from different sources and in different sizes from terabytes to zettabytes. So the usual big data definition, but here we perform the advanced analytics techniques for the analysis purpose. And mostly in the analytics, we'll be using more of the statistics related functions, okay, for analysis. Then the second point here in the big data analytics, big data technology can be defined as a software utility that is designed to analyze, process, and extract the information from an extremely complex and large data sets, which the traditional data processing software could never deal with. The same, I know the definition we said about big data, the same thing we say for the big data technology also, right? So what are the technologies we are implementing? So these technologies are mostly used for analysis purpose and processing your data and extract the information, which will be capable to handle different varieties of data, unstructured, semi-structured, and structured data. Okay, so at the same time, it is capable to handle any volume of data. Okay, the huge volume of data. What is the outcome of the big data analysis? So we are just taking the big data for analysis purpose. So here, analysis of big data allows analysts, researchers, and business users to make better and faster decision making. That is what the ultimate objective of using our data. So we try to find some fact from the already existing data. Maybe the data may be the current or present data, or maybe the previous or history of data. Okay, so from the entire set of data, what the ultimate objective is, we are trying to find out some fact for our decision making. Okay, so the decisions, if you are making based on the data that you have collected or the data that you are currently using, then what are the decisions you are taking for your business environment that will be more suitable. Okay, so here using data that was previously inaccessible, unusable. That means what? The previously stored or the olden data, maybe the data might be in different format. Okay, so whatever the format is there, for example, sometimes you would have saved your data in normal database management system or in the file system, okay, or some kind of the scanned document or whatever, right? So those data can be considered for your decision making. And then here the business can use advanced analytics techniques such as text analytics. We'll be doing text analytics, machine learning, and predictive analysis, data mining, statistics, and natural language processing to gain new insights from the previously untapped data sources. That is what untapped data source, in the sense, what are the data you haven't considered so far? Okay, the unknown data, right? So the data is available, but the data is not yet used for your analysis purpose. So to independently or together with the existing enterprise data, right? So the entire set of data can be taken, and whatever the analytics techniques you want to use. For example, if you're dealing with text data, and you can do it for text analytics process, then you can apply some machine learning algorithm for analysis. And predictive analytics, that is what is going to happen, or what will be you are going to do in the future, kind of predictions you can do with the analysis. And data mining, so actually the data mining technology was the predecessor for your big data right? So even in the big data, whatever the data, the algorithms, a different type of algorithm, we are using the data mining. Still, we are using in the big data also, right? So all type statuses related functions we are using, okay, and then we'll be using some natural language processing also, right? And so finally, just we'll have a small discussion, like from where in the practical purpose, from where we can get the huge volume of data sets for our practice purpose. One of the site just I have found is Data Science Central. There are different categories and different websites are there. Many number of websites are given. So from there you can download for your learning purpose, and you can learn the big data. And then data sets here, these are some of the websites: 538, and then BuzzFeed, ProPublica, AWS public data sets, Google public data sets. Okay, so these are the data sets for data processing projects. And the other one is data sets for machine learning projects. Suppose if you're trying for any machine learning projects with the big data, and you can just check with Gaggle, and you say machine learning repository, Quandl, and data.gov. Just some of the websites where you can get your big data sets. Okay, so far we have said what will be big data, some of the definitions we have discussed, and we discuss about the difference between traditional databases and then big data environment, and then we discuss about what is actually the big data analysis. Okay, so these are some of the the places where you can find your data sets for your learning purpose or your research purpose. Okay, so in the next video we'll be discussing the different technologies. What are the technologies we can use for big data, like big data environment. Okay, so there are different technologies we'll be using for different purposes, different tools and technologies we'll be using. So just we'll have a small discussion on that particular topic in the next video. Okay, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Hi learners, please subscribe to my channel and also press bell icon for latest video updates. Please do not forget to like, comment and share. Thank you.